Hello, we're back with chapter 6, Old Friends. Dad and I grew apart after they died. He eventually married another American woman. He now lives in Miami with her and her children from her previous relationship, and I don't see much of him. I don't even know how long it's been since I last spoke to him. We haven't fallen out, we've just stopped communicating. I love you guys, I whispered to the ground. I have no idea how long I sit like this for, but when I move again my legs have gone numb. Al, I miss you. I'm not doing so well right now, sis. In fact, I've really screwed things up. How do I make things better? Happy birthday? What did I wish a happy birthday for? What's so happy about it now? What's the point in celebrating? My best friend in the whole world, my twin sister, is no longer here to share it with. Today is American Independence Day, but what joy can freedom possibly bring without her? We were identical apart from our different eye colours. Sitting up on my heels, I dry my eyes and sniff to clear my nose. Pushing myself up onto my wobbly legs, I kiss the tips of my index and middle fingers, pressing them to the top rim of Alicia's tombstone. I repeat the gesture with Mum's, wincing at the pain in my legs as the blood rushes back through them. See you guys later, I say, crossing myself. Like that. Mum gave up her citizenship sometime during my early teens, and time has helped me understand why. Having to fill out a tax return to send to the US every year is both time-consuming and expensive. They are so nosy too. The form goes into great detail, and that's on top of doing a British one. As I walk away, I spy a familiar face lurking between some nearby trees and frown. Sorry, my lips feel dry. It's like a nervous tick. I have to do that a lot. Stop stalking me, I scowl as I stride past him. I've got enough problems already. Ben Larter keeps pace with me as I walk across the quiet cemetery. Sorry. Come on, Miller, you know what I'm going to say, he says. I write the news, and this is a big deal. I have to ask you the question, you know I do. I stop walking and turn to face him, squinting against the bright July sunshine that is peeking around the tall trees behind him, and hold up my hands, more as a barrier against the questions I know he's going to ask than the sun. Look, Ben, I really can't do this right now. But he is undeterred. Why does nobody listen to me anymore? Mike, we've known each other for a long time now. This isn't like you, he says. You look like you need to talk about it, mate. Offload a bit, yeah? Rolling my eyes towards the heavens, I turn away from him and pull a fresh cigarette packet and lighter from my back pocket. I'm obviously wasting my breath. I mean, I like the guy, but sometimes his job is a pain in the butt. Actually, you look like you've been run through a meat grinder, he frowns, looking at me more closely. Are you okay? Extracting a cigarette from underneath the foil, I stick it between my lips, slipping the packet back in my pocket. That's how I feel, I say through my teeth, glancing at him. And since when do you smoke? Ben questions, sounding very surprised. Lighting the cigarette, I tuck the lighter away and emit a deep sigh. I'm kind of having one of those days. I exhale a cloud of smoke into the blue sky and glance around the deserted cemetery path. Don't take this personally, but leave me alone. You've really got nothing to say, he says. Perhaps he's finally getting the message. That's right, I sigh, raising the cigarette to my lips again and heading down the grassy path. Your arrest is big news, Mikey, he says, keeping pace with me. What happened last night? I knew it was too much to hope for. Sighing impatiently, another cloud of smoke billows around my head, and I try not to crush the cigarette between my fingers in exasperation. Shit happens, I growl. That's it. End of conversation. Ben laughs at this. And you can fucking quote me, I spit, increasing my pace. Sadly, I fail to shake him off. Ben puts on a serious journalistic tone of voice. Michael Miller has been accused of raping a young college student, and when questioned about it by this newspaper, his response was, shit happens, now fuck off and leave me alone. I stop walking, close my eyes and cover my face with my hands, sighing deeply. Larter, I'm on the verge of having a mental breakdown, I say, the words echoing into my palms. What the hell do you want me to say? You know I could print that, Ben remarks casually. I know he wouldn't know. Since you are the accused, I really thought I'd get somewhere. You're normally so talkative. Not this time. Dropping my hands, I open my eyes and look at him taking another drag. Come on, it doesn't really matter what I say, does it? I grimace, blowing smoke in his direction. You lot are going to say whatever you want, take the story and run with it, I know that. I'm heartbroken, he says, twisting his expression into a hurt look and wafting at the smoke. Those things are going to kill you, you know. You hear that, Larter? I say, putting the cigarette between my lips and taking another drag as he listens to the birds sing to each other in the treetops. That's the sound of my reputation being torn apart. Scowling at him, I exhale another cloud of smoke into the air and start walking again. So that's it, he says, keeping pace. That's all you've got to say. I'm on your side, you know. I was drunk, Ben. Really, really drunk. He walks with me in silence for a moment. Okay, so what? He says finally with a shrug. I'm surprised he hasn't heard this. I got the impression everybody knows the whole story already. Or maybe that's just my paranoia running away with me. You know what alcohol's like, I say casually, watching the smoke rising from the lit end of the cigarette. It's good at impairing the memory, if you see what I mean. He's a good reporter, but I wonder if he will have any idea what I'm talking about. For real? He says. Ben looks surprised and there is an eager edge to his voice now. I don't know if it's in response to what I said or because I've changed tact and opened up to him a little. How impaired? I shrugged, trying not to let exhaustion take over. Maybe totally. I'm so tired of talking about it already. Sometimes talking about the bad stuff just leaves me feeling so exhausted. So what's the victim say? Have you spoken to her? I ask, glancing at him. He shakes his head, smiling wryly. She's being shielded from the press and nobody else is talking, but I've heard things. I wonder if she thinks I'm the man that hurt her. The police certainly tried to give me that idea, but I don't believe everything they tell me. Sneaky bastards like nothing better than scaring suspects into making a confession. I know how they operate. Don't tell me, Larter. I shake my head for added emphasis. I really don't want to know what you've heard. I look at him out of the corner of my eye and wonder what he thinks about it. Does he think I did it? Did you really, Deckard Culper? It's a relief to know he still has faith in me. From the way his face and voice are distorted, I can see he finds that hard to comprehend. I murmur into the cigarette, my eyebrows drawn over my eyes so hard it's starting to hurt. Thinking of her, an idea suddenly occurs to me. Can I ask you a favour? I say, breathing out smoke with the words. Depends what it is, he says carefully, frowning dubiously. If I buy something for her, will you drop it down at Bethel Street for me? Bribery? Ben gawps at me, his eyebrows shooting up. Don't, Larter, please don't. I shake my head, my expression grim. I feel bad. You can't even imagine how bad I feel about it, especially after what happened outside the station this afternoon. Really? I can hear the intense curiosity in his voice. What was that, then? I remember I'm talking to a reporter, and immediately regret mentioning it. Damn it. Nothing. I exhale another cloud of smoke and drop the burnt-down cigarette end onto the gravel roadway. Forget it. I can feel his eyes probing me as I squash the end flat with the toe of my shoe, as if the answer to the mystery I've just presented him with is written on my face. Will you help me out or not? I say, glancing at him, and start walking along the edge of the gravel roadway, with him trailing beside me. Sure, Miller, he agrees, but you owe me. Thanks. I pull my sunglasses out from where they are tucked into the neck of my t-shirt and slip them onto my face. You're a star. Strolling through the open gateway out onto the semi-busy street, I suddenly feel self-conscious. There are people about. I don't want to be around people right now. I'm worried about trouble. I don't have to go looking for it. There are just times when it seems to find you, you know? Did she give you a hard time? Ben says. Who? I say, noticing a Tesco store on the horizon. Perfect, that'll do nicely. If there's one thing Norwich is not short of, it's Tesco's. Pretty soon there will be one on every street corner. Maybe that should be their new motto. Tesco, taking over the world one street corner at a time. That copper, did she give you a hard time? I scoff and glance at him. Come off it, she was the peacemaker. Uh-huh, he says thoughtfully. For God's sake, will I ever stop saying stupid things? Just sew my lips shut now. Stop it, I sigh, looking down the street at the store. I'm going to go in that Tesco. Okay, he smiles. When we reach the door, he trails me inside and starts browsing the magazine aisle. I slip my sunglasses onto the top of my head like a hairband so I can see what I'm doing and browse the shelves. Eventually I find a nice looking box of chocolates. I grab a pack of stick-on gift labels and a pastry before joining the queue at the checkout. It feels really tacky just to send her a box of chocolates, but I feel I have to do something to try and make it up to her, even if it's a cheap move like this. There's no guarantee she will even get them. It's the thought that counts though, right? Hey, you know what I heard? Ben says, appearing beside me. I dread to think and cringe internally at the options. Where was I? There's a long list of possibilities, I say, trying to ignore the security guard standing against the nearby wall. I'm sure he's staring at me. Really? Such as? I give Ben a bored look and he laughs. Okay, have you seen this, mate? He holds a copy of today's local newspaper, who he works for, incidentally. No, I mumble, reading the headline. The lead story is, surprise, surprise, about me. According to this article, I mercilessly and without provocation beat up an innocent accountant yesterday. And there he is, the bane of my life, flaunting his injuries for all to see. Son of a bitch, I curse under my breath. I notice it's my turn to pay and step forward. That just takes the biscuit, I say, sounding as annoyed as I feel. Ben steps up to the till beside me and sets the paper down along with my purchases. Have it, mate, he says, adding a 50p coin to my coin-filled palm. On me. Counting out the right amount of change, I hand it over to the cashier. Thanks, I say, looking towards Ben, my voice heavy with sarcasm. Really, you've made my day. I nod to the cashier and take my bag of purchases and head for the door. So what's the truth, he says, shoving his hands in his pockets as we step outside. You don't believe your own newspaper, I say, my eyebrows raised in surprise. Have you got a pen on you? I take a gift label out of the packet and stick it on the front of the chocolate box. Sure. Standing off to the side of the door, I watch him pat down his pockets. I've known you forever. People like you don't go around picking fights. Here. Thanks, I say, accepting his offered pen and making sure the box doesn't have a price sticker anywhere on it. I write a short message to her on it and sign my name. Brad and Janie just reported Mr. Slack's version of events, Ben says. Oh, give me a break. That prig wouldn't know the truth of it. Bit him on the ass, I scoff, handing him back his pen. And if your colleagues heard what goes on behind closed doors, they wouldn't be so sympathetic. I can't believe her ratting me out to the press, that lowlife. Oh yeah, Ben says, sounding interested. What's that? I wonder if we can make visiting time. You got 5 minutes? I asked, checking my watch. And a car nearby. Well, that's the end of that chapter. Thank you for watching, listening, and tune in shortly for chapter 7. Bye.